One of the key ideas I want you to have is that money does not make you good or bad. And we will explore exactly how that works as we investigate the mindset, the blueprints, and so on. What money does do is it throws fuel on whatever fire is already burning. If you're a good person, money will make you great. If you're a bad person or have a little dodgy streak inside you, it will expose that flaw. It'll make that worse. And you see this happening all the time with people who suddenly get very rich. Their flaws get exposed because they never had a chance to work on them, and it amplifies things. So to the extent that you're willing to just work on yourself as an individual, then actually becoming wealthy is something I would consider to be a duty, because your ability to do good things in the world to your friends, your families, the people you love, and even your community or the larger community of the world, that starts to skyrocket. To this idea of the blueprint. And this is something which, if you take this on board, again, will make a fundamental switch in how you view the world that'll help you get rich really easily. The difference between the rich and the poor has nothing to do with their income. The difference is that the poor people think that the rich spend money. The rich people think that the rich receive money. So when a poor person wants to feel rich, wants to feel worthwhile, like he's made it, what does he do? He spends money. He consumes. Kind of debt. You're talking about the consumer debt. Well, think about back to the hunter and farmer analogy. Consumer debt consumes. It destroys value. The kind of debt that you just talked about, the kind of debt, the 5% to make 10%, well, that's building value. If you're using it to actually create more value, well, then it's worth the risk. Does it always pay off, by the way? No. Not every seed that you plant in the ground will come up, right? But then you're creating value. And it goes right back to the very first thing we talked about in terms of what is money. It is a symbol for value. If the money that you're taking is destroying value, which is essentially when debt finances consumption, the real experts you're selling are the ones that can make things that are relatively difficult to comprehend easy to understand. Because if something's difficult to understand, really all that has happened is someone has needlessly overcomplicated it. Right? Law, by the way, is a great example of this. Legalese is its own little language that has been designed especially by lawyers who have problems thinking that what they're doing is really a bit too simple, so they want to impress their clients by how complex and difficult it really is, when really it isn't. Right? So beware of that. If someone gets too much into technical jargon and it's just like you're into management speak or corporate speak and going, what is all this? Well, they've just violated one of the first rules of investments. You don't understand what they're talking about. How can you invest in it? Right? If you can't understand what your advisor is advising you, then he's not advising you. He's just talking at you in a foreign language. So let's have a look at another business. And again, we'll get it a little bit more, quote unquote, realistic. Though I despise the term. That's usually an excuse for people who don't want to take on the emotional journey, shall we say, of bettering themselves in a particular area. You might say, well, it's all well and good for Master Mick. He spent 10 years in Japan becoming a karate master, and I'm not a karate master. I don't have 10 years to do that. Well, technically speaking, you do, but we'll ignore that. How could you create a six-figure income, a business similar to this, without even knowing anything, just by understanding the concept of value exchange, and monetizing that value, and building a system around it so that it flows smoothly, your time is maximized? Would you be interested in an exercise around that? Right? Because now we're even taking the one thing out that we've had so far. The coach, you'd say, oh, well, the coach was good at football. The karate master, well, he did karate. He knows something. What if you know nothing? Do any of you here know anything about tailoring? How to cut suits and shirts and stuff like that? No? I'm in the same boat with you. I get clothes made for me, but I don't really know much about how they get made. As far as I'm concerned, there's a magic monkey somewhere who waves his magic wand, and out they come, they fit me, and I'm very happy. So if we were to start a tailoring business together, would it be fair to say we would all be equally clueless, yes? So how might we do it anyway? How might we start a business we know nothing about and still maintain a 6-figure income? Wouldn't that be something to think about?